Gutierrez, that's your married name. You used to be Marta Caracaburu.
Caracaburu.
What kind of a name? Caracaburu, is that Spanish or Basque?
Basco-Francés.
Uh-huh.
My grandfather was from, my great-grandfather was from the Basco-Francés, for the Ribera of, I don't know.
You know the town?
No, I don't know. No. He was he writes several books in English grammar, several books, but he died before a publisher. In Cuba we have several of him.
So you were born in Havana?
Yes.
And your parents were Cubans as well? They were born there too? Or?
Yes, my mother and father was in Havana too.
And you were raised there. What part of the city did you live in?
I live in the center of Havana. When I was a little girl, I lived in the little town outside of the center of the city, This is a little town where we grow until we have about 9 years, no more. 12 years I moved to the center of Havana.
You had brothers and sisters?
I have two sisters and one brother. My brother was born when we are 10, 12, and 14 years old. This is the only boy in the family.
Are they still alive?
Yes, all my family live in Miami. My brother came in the last flight from Cuba, the regular flight, with the Johnson gave the permission to come from Cuba. He was in the last flight. He came with the wife and the little boy. And now he's a registered nurse, and he lives here in Miami. My sister lives in Miami, has children, and the children grow here. My another sister, the children was born here, two boys. One of my nephews is an architect here. He has his own company, associated with another architect. And my niece is a teacher, but she doesn't work now. She has her own business with the husband and has children too. And my brother has a boy. He works for the BW in Dixie Highway. He's management over there.
Your parents died?
My parents died here in Miami.
They were dead in Miami?
Both died. My grandmother came with us to Miami too, and she died too, within 101 years old. In 1971, she died.
That must have been very hard for your parents to come over here and leave their country. I mean, how did they adjust to that?
It's so hard, but they adapted very well to here. My father was happy, really. He's a pleasant person. Really, I admire him. He never complained anything, and he's like the father. My grandfather is a wonderful person, really.
What did your father do for a living?
My father is an electrician for the Luminic Sign company, this big company in Cuba. And he has most of the big advertising Bacardi, many luminical signs. My father he studied in University of Havana for 2 years, engineering, but after he got to work in the company. In the beginning he worked in the company, big construction company in Cuba, many years ago, And my mother is in home always, and she's very lovely lady. It's not because it's my mother, but really, we have a good memory of my parents.
And you had a happy childhood?
We are very happy when we are child. We never had problem. All my family come to my home. When their problem come to my home to be happy in my home. My father is like my uncle here. He has a big house, has a big family, and everybody go to his home here in Miami because all the family like to go. This is my father's younger brother, the only still living, and other people die.
What would they do? What would you do in Havana, like on weekends? Where would you go? Or
Well, most of the time we are with family and we met with family. Sometimes go to the beach and
What beaches would you go to?
we go to Santa Maria del Mar too much because my father has a good friend over there. They have a house there. Sometimes after my sister buy a house in Guanabo, and this is the residential for several houses with the common recreation in the back. There are about 100 houses around and have swimming pool and cafeteria and recreation bar inside. And my sister, before Castro, she go, but when Castro started, she moved definitely to there. And all the time we go there. And before we go to, with different family has house in the beach and in Hibacoa too. And sometimes staying home and go with friends to parties and similar like here.
Would they go to, would the what do you call people, habaneros or?
Los habaneros?
Habaneros, would they go to the beaches in the wintertime or just in the summertime?
Most in the summertime. Somebody likes winter, but it's not the regular. The regular is summertime.
And what about the places in Havana that you remember? I mean, were there clubs or nightclubs or?
Well, they have many clubs in Havana, especially in the way to Rancho Boyero, where is the airport. There are many nightclubs, good nightclubs over there. There are many clubs, private clubs. Some they are expensive only for the highlights because it is too expensive. Some like the Nautico is for the middle class. Like I go, everybody can go, and it really is not expensive, and they have all kind of entertainment. There are many clubs. Most of these they are in Marianao, near the University of Villanueva, because they are the nice place for the club and the beach are around. And there are other beaches in Playa Marianao. This is access to all the poor and media class, or everybody can go there too. Like here, Grandon Park or something like that.
Yeah. You always hear them talking about, is it Veradero Beach? Veradero Beach, or
here in
then in Havana, in Cuba? Wasn't that one of the big beaches?
Beautiful beach. It's in Matanzas. It's not in Havana. It's out in another province.
And how much did you get around Cuba? Did you travel around Cuba much?
Well, I don't travel too much. I travel until Cienfuegos. Trinidad is a beautiful place. It's in the mountains, but this is beautiful. I went to Trinidad when I am not very young when I went there. Was with my brother married. My brother is graduated from registered nurse, and he's going to work in Trinidad. It's in the mountain, and it's a hospital for TB disease. And this is beautiful place. I think it's the most beautiful place I saw in Cuba. It's in the mountain. It's difficult to go there. Only the travel with the special people go and come back down. And they spend about 1 hour to get the mountain, but really it's beautiful. The hospital was a beautiful place. Now I understand the government is closed that place now. And my brother, when graduated, he go there, and his wife, after he married, the wife was there, and my nephew was born over there. After he come back to Havana to work in the Havana. And Cienfuegos is a beautiful town too. I went to Santa Clara several times, and Santi Espiritu, but I don't know Camagüey and Santiago. My father traveled all the province, but I don't.
What was your impression of Americans when you were living there? I mean, did they like having the American tourists there, or? Yes,
they have, but most of the time, I know the American, every time I saw when you go to the center of Havana, they are full of people, special soldiers or something in the store, In the center of Havana, there are big store like El Encanto. It's very fancy store. It's like Jordan Marsh or Lorian Taylor here or something like that. they have in the center of Havana, they call Galeano San Rafael, is the street. And all the young people is met there, girls and boys and friends, and everybody Saturday travel to one side to another for all the stories like Miracle Mile, all full of store, and all the tourist people is going there, the American special, and it's full of American people on Saturday, and Sunday's club on Saturday. And we met many people, and after went to Villanueva, we met all the priests and all the visitors came to Villanueva.
Your first job was you worked in a pharmacy?
Yes, I went to the nice school. It's private school, but the director of the school, I admire it. It's like a sign. Now they try to canonize her.
Well, how did you first hear about Santo Tomas?
Well, when we graduated high school in 1946, the Santo Tomas gave a scholarship for one of the student letters. No, I studied my, the bachillerato in Cuba is in science and letters. You can take both, or you can take one or another. The first year is regular. The 5 years, this is 5 years, the high school. The last year is in science and letters, you take one. I take both, but my friend get a scholarship for Villanueva in Cuba. She's one of the girls married me. Excuse me, I made a mistake. One of the girls is, I met her in the school, graduated with her, and she went to Villanueva. She get the scholarship for education. After she changed to Filosofía y Letras. When she went work there, she tried to get, she started to work in Villanueva, because in Villanueva is only there one man work, plus the father, Carlos Fuente. He's a young man, he studied there and he worked in the offices. And Marta Portilla, he was the register in Cuba, is the lady take the scholarship for Villanueva, and she's a good friend of me. She always thinking is there a position for me there, because the pharmacy, I study pharmacy, but really in Cuba, when you are no money to have pharmacy proper, pay very little salary for the, and my salary is so low, and she knows about, and she said, when get chance, you bring, I take you to Villanueva. When they are opening, she called me to go to work with her. And in that moment, I start like receptionist. In the, yes, in the beginning, and help her in her office. After, this is the first year Father McCarthy came to Cuba in 1952.
Now, was that the first year of the university?
No. The university opened in 1946, 46. And I started to work in 1952. 52. But Marta is, in that time, she's graduating, she's the register of the school. Yeah. I work for her in register, and I work for the receptionist, and after work with the bookstore, everything. We are not many people in that time. And the school started, when I started in Villanueva, this is only 23 students or 25.
Only 23 or 25 students?
Students, around that. And after they grow, and when they close, they have 1,500. Before before Castro get the government, because many people start to leave, and in the last moment there are not many students. But the last regular year of Villanueva is 1,500.
So you saw it grow enormously.
Yes, grow. And when I start to work, there are only 2 buildings: the monastery, the library, and the 3 buildings, and the Hicker building, the building for class at the chapel. And after there are the engineering building and architectural building, and the school is grown. They are beautiful buildings.
That university was founded by Father Spirali, or?
They found by Father Spirali.
Did you know him?
I know him in Villanueva, but this is an old priest, And he really was a wonderful person. He was very kind. He never get any money for him. All the money he get is for Villanueva or Santa Elena in the beach. He has a parish, or San Lorenzo is the school and clinic for the poor people. It's located in the very poor neighborhood. And really all the money he get, any penny he take, is for this school or for Villanueva. He worked so hard for Villanueva. And here in Miami, he worked for Biscayne College too much too. I saw every morning when he go to church, to chapel here, and every time he passed for the library, he said, "I'm going to pray for Cuba." Really, he gave all the life to the poor and to the school.
I imagine he died a very sad man, seeing the...
Yes, he died in 1965 here. In West Palm Beach. He went to West Palm Beach for visit friends or something, and he was bad, and he died over there. He died the same year my mother died. He died in July, I think.
He was very good at getting money from the rich people.
It's the first priest, I think, it's the first priest taught the Cuban people give money to the church. Because before the people in Cuba is no have the tie here, have envelope for church, for give money. If you belong to the parish, you need to help. No, in Cuba nobody asks for that. And if you want to give money to the church, it's okay, but it's not like obligation or moral obligation, you know. Everybody go to church, but you go to the church, sometimes you're parish and you go to another parish or something like that. But when he started to ask for money. He said, when the rich people go to church, he said, no sound. And when the people,
No sound.
no, but when in the morning, for example, in Santa Rita, when there are church in the morning, mass in the morning, early in the morning, and many servants came and poor people, he doesn't worry about sound, no. You can give a penny if you have it, no, but in the 10 o'clock and 11, the rich people came, he said, and sometimes the people put money and try to change, he said, this is enough. But he get money for it, and he knows very well the rich people in Cuba who has money and who doesn't have. And every time he talked, he said, be careful, because now I'm thinking that person has money and has money for that.
He was an Italian, wasn't he?
He was, yes, he came, I think he came to the United States when he's 20 something, and he tried to find the Augustinian because somebody talking to him about the Augustinian priests. They are very kind, and this is the reason he go to the Augustinian order.
How was his Spanish?
He speaks bien,
Yeah.
speak well.
And
He teach to eat spaghetti to the student in Cuba.
Oh, he taught. Oh, really?
He explained how you can eat spaghetti easy with the spoon
Yeah.
all the time. He was very nice person.
And the I guess you called him the rector. Who was the rector when you went there to Villanueva? Did they call it Villanueva or
Villanueva.
the Catholic University, or what was
Well,
that?
when we talk about some officials said the Catholic University of Havana, but most of the people said Villanueva.
Uh-huh.
Because when they opened, this is not it's not official Catholic University. We get the certificate for Rome later. I think in 47 or I don't know exactly when. In 52.
Yeah, they had to get their. They had to actually go to the University of Havana to take their exams.
Yeah,
The
well,
first few years.
yes, the first time before they approved the law for the private university, they need to go to the university for. But any time they have the exam, it's like when here they are a visiting committee for accredited the school. Well, they are a different University of Havana for this faculty send somebody to have the exam. No exam really, it's some interview with the student graduate from Villanueva, and after they approved recognize the certificate, you know. It's like the thesis or something like that.
And the rector you worked under was
Father Kelly.
Father Kelly.
Yes.
What was your recollection of him?
Oh, this is very nice person. Villanueva. When I came to Villanueva the first day, Marta de la Portilla, the register, said, don't be surprised when you see Father smoke and maybe he has the feet in the desk, because sometimes he put the feet at the desk. And Marta told me before I go to have the interview with Father, because we are accustomed to the Jesus priest. The Jesus priest is very formal, and my school is near the Jesus church. The spiritual director of my school is the Jesus Father. And it's completely different like the Augustinian. The Augustinian is there, well, it's American, it's different system than the Spanish. And when I enter in Father's office, he has the cigar in the hands. It's exactly like Marta told me before I go there. But he was very nice, and Villanueva grew with him too much. Really, he was the soul of Villanueva. Because when he came to Villanueva, there are few students. I understand. I wasn't there with that, but Marta always told me, Father got to visit to recruit a student, and he go to different place, and one day he need to go for a little upstairs outside of the house to the top of the house to find somebody there, a student there, and he really worked so hard for Villanueva. He conducted Villanueva very well. I think it's Castro doesn't take it.
And the vice rector was Father McCarthy.
Father McCarthy. After my position I changed to the register office. When Marta de la Portilla came to Spain, I worked in the register office all the time. Father McCarthy has the office together with the register office. And I worked for Father McCarthy. When Marta come back after a few months, I come back to work with Father McCarthy in his office, his academic dean in that time. And with the secretary, Gladys Prieto, is a very nice girl.
Where was this in Havana? Where was the university?
In Miramar.
Can you describe the area?
This is beautiful residential area. We have behind the university they have the Mercy College. It's the college for the Ursulinas, for the rich girl only. Near there is the Sacred Heart School. It's very fancy school too. And after I think it's the Oblatas sister. I don't know sure what is the Oblatas, but they have the residence for girls near the school, next to the tennis court of the Villanueva. They are in the way to Santa Fe Beach, but most of the people were in the nautical club. The buses go to there and stop over there, and their little buses go to Santa Fe, and this is the bus we need to get or walk about 10 or 15 blocks. I don't know exactly how many. I walk too much, but it's not many of the students has car in Villanueva. Many people give ride to the people wait for the bus over there or something. It's a very nice neighborhood. In front of the Villanueva, they have a new development for the house, pre-constructed house. They start to, and was a very nice place.
And the ocean, the sea was just a few blocks?
No, in front of it's walk about 3 blocks.
3 blocks.
We can get it there. And Villanueva is a nice campus, really it's a beautiful campus.
And there are some of the faculty we had here, besides Father McCarthy, who of course founded Biscayne College. You also there had Jimmy O'Melia.
Well, when I came here, the first person is teacher here is Dr. Rosaura Garcia Tudri from Cuba. And after a few years, Mr. O'Melia came. I think it was 1965. I don't remember exactly the years, you know, this is too long and I forgot it. Mm,
What do you remember about Omelia, for instance?
Omelia,
Havana?
I remember him in Cuba. He's like here. He's always happy and pleasant, and always he has a very good sense of humor. He never complain, and he always happy. He likes Cuba. Sometimes I tell him you are more Cuban than me, because when I hear, one day he said, I said, no, the weather of here is similar like Cuba. The only we have, he said, don't tell that. In Cuba there are breeze and there are something. I said, well, you are Cuban, I am American. But he was the director of the school over there, I think it's in San Joseph.
George.
Also San George. So, but in Cuba he has a very good reputation, everybody likes him, and the student like him. Never I hear complain about him. It's like Dr. Diaz. Never I hear the student complain Dr. Diaz. Always he's a very right person, very strict, but never it's just.
Yeah.
And really was a good person. This is the another person came in 66, I think, or 65.
Diaz.
Yes. And after the Rolando, I met the Rolandos in Cuba. I remember they were in the building, Arquitectura building. Rolando teach the student for, Rolando start first, the student for Arquitectura. He taught them. And after Josefina go, I don't remember exactly what year, but Rolando, I remember, I think he started when Father Berry was the director of the School of Architecture after study Architectura school. Shelton was a teacher over there. I don't have too much connection with Shelton because I think he teach at night.
John Bradley.
John Briley. John Briley was a student when they opened the School of Economy, the graduate student, the graduate School of Economy. John Briley was there. Many girls like Briley.
Oh, yeah.
Briley, he's very handsome. And many students like him. And he started to, and when he graduated, he started teaching economy. He's with Father Burns. Another person is, well, now he's not here, but was a student in Cuba and is a good friend of Father Burns, was Antonio Jorge. He worked here I think 1 year or something. Now he works for Florida International. But he graduated in Cuba and he's one of the first students in Cuba, I think, or in the second year or so. And after he did the graduate School of Economy, he graduated over there and he taught over there too.
What was the social life like? Did you have parties and things?
Well, I am not rich. I am not the people has, many people here now say they have money in Cuba. No, I am middle class like here.
Yeah.
But we have party with the family or friends or something, but I am not in the club, social club or something. Our life is quiet, no. My sister married with the man, is a registered nurse, and he's a nice man, and really she has, nice house, belongs to her. I live with the house. The house has 2 floors, and we live in the first floor, she lives in the second floor. But the house belongs to her husband, and she has car, but she's not live like, she dedicated to the children, and really we don't have.
But the university, would they have, for instance, parties at Christmas time?
Yes, they have, and they have a big parties in Thanksgiving. We celebrate Thanksgiving with Father Kelly birthday at the same time. Father Kelly birthday, I think, is 26th of November. And sometimes Thanksgiving is in that day, sometimes before, sometimes. They have a big party in the campus, and they have a baseball game between the student and faculty. We pass all day in Villanueva with there are many parties at night, dancing, dinners. At this time I go to the parties in Villanueva, but really not outside, to the clubs or something, like many people go, because many people has money for that. Or like the social life. In Cuba there are many rich people, and the people like too much the social life.
Did they have any dormitories on the campus at
No, no, they don't have. The only, in the monastery, there are some rooms. There are in the monastery, there are the monastery, the cafeteria in the back of the monastery, and upstairs there are some room for the people work over there, you know, the maintenance people work. The girls work in cafeteria, they have room upstairs, or another girl has room upstairs in the back of the monastery, but not for a student live. Only live Isidoro Garcia, Pedro, I don't remember the last name. 3 students I seen live over there, that's all. But everybody's community.
So Father Kelly left in 1959?
Father Kelly lived in 1960, I think. After the Castro entered in Cuba in 1959. I don't remember, it's 60 or 59.
In any case, Fidel Castro was in the Sierra Maestra Mountains for several years. Do you recall what people were saying at the university during the time when Castro was in the mountains and the hills?
Well, they're a group of, they call revolucionarios, you know. They like Castro and they try to hurt the people or something. This is the same when the Castro start entering Havana, you know, this is a big problem. They started between, we have some students they call revolutionarios. This is the students are there when they the university and put the priest in the auditorium. They put the priest in prison, like the prison in the auditorium, and they need to go with them to the, and include, it's not only soldiers, there are some students over there. I have the list before, but now I forgot the names or something of the students.
But there were some people at the university who were for Castro, and I assume there were some against him.
In the beginning,
in the
yes.
beginning.
They include teachers.
Yeah.
After they changed, but in the beginning, like Castro, I know a nice teacher over there, and she really is very definite with Castro in the beginning. When the priests are in the monastery and doesn't have food because they took out the lady from the cafeteria, the people take the university, tell they don't need and go home, and the priest doesn't have anybody cook or something, and somebody called me and I called this lady, and she was very nice. She get the daily dinner and sent to the priest the dinner by this way, you know. And she's a lady, she has a high position over there. She's in Miami and she knows very well. I don't want to tell the name because maybe she doesn't like, but she likes Castro in the beginning. She seen it's perfect for Cuba. After she changed, you know.
What was it like in Cuba before Castro? I mean, what did the people think of Batista?
Well, Batista has many bad things, maybe, you know. But really, we are free. We can talk everything like you do here. You know, if you want to talk against the government or you want to take anything, and there are no problem, nobody take you to prison and anything. But Castro, when Castro started, you can talk anything, because if you told anything against Castro or the government, immediately you go to prison. Also, or you need to talk very low in home because the neighbor here, and maybe they call the police, and you know, this is terrible situation.
Do you recall January 1st, 1959?
I do.
Where were you then, that day?
I am in my home.
And what did you hear?
Well, you know, many people like Castro, many people, I never like Castro. I am happy to that, but many people like.
Did you?
I'm thinking it's because many people is against Batista. I'm thinking this is the best way.
Yeah.
But Father Kelly was one of the person, I think was one of the first person said, this is a communist. Really, he said immediately he knows. He's here, I think, when Castro, I think there are convention or something in Miami or in the United States when Castro get the government, and many teachers over there are here. And I think Father Kelly is here. Sometimes, you know, after 30 years, I forgot many things, you know, but really.
Do you recall the day when Castro actually came into Havana?
Yes, all the people go out, say, Fidel, this is your home. Many people come out.
Did you see him?
I saw him in the television. No, I don't go to see. No, I stay in my home. I never go to see him in any place. And this is after that I start to have the records the all day talking about what he told. He passed hours and hours talking, and next day you have to hear all day the same thing. Or in all places. I remember one time my father said, we go to some place, we go to there a new park in the Rio Almendares, under the, next to the Rio, but under, there are a park for tables and something, and many people bring the children there. And Papi said, go out, we go to the park to don't hear Castro. When get to the park, I hear the microphones beat, Castro talking. In all the places is Castro. Speeches again. This is type communist time. Repeat the same thing.
Yeah.
Many people lies, I know. Many people after a few months leaving, or after her day. I remember one girl is in Cuba, she's a teacher in pharmacy, and she likes Castro, she's very, and when the law 11 is the first law for private universities, it's against Villanueva. And she doesn't worry about that, because she thinks it's just do that. But after a few days, his father is a Spanish man, and he has a building. He constructed the building with a fort because he worked so hard in his life. But they get the Reforma Agraria, or the Reforma for all the house and everything. It doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the poor, to the people. And she was against Castro. This is the reason many people call the Castro Revolution is the
Things began to change after Fidel Castro took power. What changes did you notice in the life of the people?
Change in all the ways. You cannot free. You are afraid of everything. You are afraid, you have children like my sister, for example, you have afraid the children take, because they start to say the potestad for, patria potestad for the children, they can, and they start to afraid to everything. If you talk, you don't know who tell, and there in all the blogs there are a person take care. In my blog, for example, in my home is work a young girl, help my mother. My mother loved her and she loved my mother, but the aunt is in the committee of defense of the blog. And when my mother sent the girl, my sister sent the children here, my nephew came with 3 years and my niece with 11 by themselves. We have family here, we have my uncle and my cousin here. When my mother sent the girl here, we left the house about 5 o'clock in the morning to the airport, early for nobody. After 20 minutes, the lady came to my home and asked what happened with the people go out early in the morning. And a few days before, my mother sold some bicycles the children has, and she came the man came to pick up the bicycles, and after 10 minutes she came and wants to know what the bicycle, we live with afraid to everything. And this is no life. If you hear, for example, the Voice of America in the radio, you need to go to the last room and close all the windows and put the radio, because it's the neighbor. You don't know who is the neighbor in that time, because it's the same neighbor, but some like Castro, some no.
Yeah.
And really, it's no life.
Did you ever know anyone who was arrested?
Oof, many people. My godchild father was in prison for about 2 months, and he never know why. And my friend, she was in Villanueva, she's in California now. His cousin killed, and never know why he killed. And he went to the hearing in the prison, and they said, the people said he gave some handbag to somebody, that's all, killed.
And at
Not
the-
my family, really, but this is relative of us.
And at the university, at Villanueva, you began to realize that there would be problems there.
Yes, they are.
And I guess Father Kelly had to leave.
Father Kelly left when they start to put something in the street about Father Kelly and the newspaper. He left, but he come back. He called Beatriz, is the secretary of Father Kelly. And one day he called back Beatriz and said, Beatriz, I'm in the airport. This is after he left. Nobody know he come back. He was very, it was dangerous for him to come back in that way. Beatriz went to the airport and bring him to the house, and next day in the mass at 11 or 10 in the morning, he was in Santa Rita in the church, and he said the mass, and he received all the people go to see him. Many people go to see him, but it was dangerous for him. He has good luck, nobody tell, because the people hate him, the government, the people, not exactly, the student doesn't like Castro or something, try to hurt everybody. And another priest was in prison, it was Father Casado, Father Fresno, was with Mr. Omelia the same time. Father Casado was Mr. Omelia Mr. Omelia was about 50 days or 40 days, I don't know, remember. And Father Casado was there, and Father Fresno was only 3 days.
Well, that was after the Bay of Pigs, right?
Yes, this
Well, let's think about that then. What did you, before the Bay of Pigs, which was in what, 61 or 61? Or?
61 was invasion of Bay
Yeah.
Pig. But in the 60 there are many problems, because the people said Villanueva is for the rich people only.
Yeah.
And they has against Villanueva, against everything in Villanueva, everybody. And before they are bomb in the class upstairs, I think it was before the invasion, yes, before the invasion. Father Kelly said something about this is clean here, or this is, and somebody tried to hear about that, they thinking he's against Castro and something. There are many. Father Kelly the student wants to go to the straight to the huelga, and Father Kelly said we made the referendum, what they want to stay, what they want to go. This is many problems. In general, in Cuba, in all the places, it's study problem with Castro. Because always there are some revolutionaries, some,
Castro was claiming that the United States was going to invade Cuba.
Yes.
And we here thought that was ridiculous, but it did happen. Did you know that was going to happen?
Yes, he told everybody, and I remember one night there, I don't know exactly when it was. I think it was, I don't know sure it was after the invasion or before. Everybody he told everybody expected the invasion of the United States over there. And they maintain, this is a problem with Castro, they maintain the people in tension for that, pay attention to that, and forgot what happened in the government. And he tell, and this night some plane fly around Havana, and many people have, say in English, tirar gun.
Yeah.
I remember I went to the movie with my sister and a friend, and when I hear that, we go to the first door we found and go. This is a place where made cigars. It's not far from my home. It's a scene near my home. And my sister going one way and I going another way, and we've hidden there until everything is quiet to return home. After, I don't know where is my sister, because she go to one house and enter in the house, and everybody thinking it's United States, and it's the first, maybe it's the people from Castro do that to maintain the people in. And in Santa Maria del Mar, it's frequently they have soldiers and something, many people around because they wait for the invasion. I remember one girl was in Villanueva. Her mother is a communist, She knows, she's not coming, but her mother likes the government because she has a boyfriend and belongs to the government. She's in Venezuela now. She is younger, she's maybe 18 or something. She started to work a few months before Castro in Cuba. And she said she heard the Marines go to Cuba in the little, like, something imagination, to invade Cuba with that, and she told everybody because the mother told her that, and she told like it's true. Yeah. Many stories about that. Yeah. Some funny, some stupid, some. But really.
But the day of the invasion was the Playa Giron. Was school in session? Did you have classes that day?
I worked in the morning. And when the night before, the Voice of America started to talk about the invasion or something. And in the morning, many people thinking there's something wrong. But I went to work. I work by bus. I don't have car. I need to take 2 buses plus the bus to Náutico to Villanueva. I went there, no problem. But about 11, I start to hear the radio and everybody, all the family start to call. Father Kelly, about 12 o'clock said, go home, everybody. But because the first thing
Father
said
Kelly
is...
or Father McCarthy?
Father Kelly.
Father Kelly.
The first things they said is they blown the bridge, and we are in one side of the bridge, and I live in the other side, and everybody go home, and one girl worked there, she has car, she brought us, everybody not to her home, to the place where we can get but it was terrible traffic, everybody go home, in all, not only in Villanueva, in all the places, because my sister worked and they sent to home too, because everybody wait for big problem. And after we know it's invasion.
Well, what happened the next day then? Did you go to school?
No, we don't go to school. We don't go to Villanueva until was April 17, and I studied problem. Villanueva doesn't open later. I don't remember exactly when. We closed that day. This is the last day we closed. The invasion of Haiti. After the people get the Villanueva, I don't remember the name. One was very nice person.
So the government soldiers?
They use militia dress. They call all the employees of Villanueva. They call some, and the others call the others. We went there to the meeting.
When was this? How long after the Bay of Pigs?
This was in May, a few days after.
Okay.
They came, I think it was May, exactly May 11 or May 12. And he sit down in the conference room next to Father Kelly or the president's office. And they told us the school is continuing the same way. One man is so nice, really was nice, very polite. The another has, he sit down with close the eyes and respiration too much, and he's very strange person. I don't remember the name of both. One is, I think it's Martinez or something, but I don't know. He said the school is the same, we don't afraid to come back to work because the school, they don't hear the priest, they are very polite with everybody, the government doesn't want to do anything against anybody, and the school will be open, and said, and you get your check now, because the last period we don't get the check. He gave the check to everybody, the past check, and said, if you want something in your office, you can go to your office, somebody go with you, and you take all the personal things you want, if you want to. In my office, I work for the student activity that time, and we have many pictures, a cabinet full of that. I found everything in the floor. All the things there goes to the floor. And next day, everybody go and present the resignation. And the man, the nice man, the another was a little unpolite, said, you see in the prison that some bad words used. Next day, everybody go and he said, what happened? You afraid of that? No, everybody said, no, we don't work more, we don't work more. Except the girl, the mother like that, and another 2 girls still there, doesn't go. After left because there are nothing over there. There are no. And the girls in the cafeteria is still there a few days, but after they call me every night the girls work in the cafeteria. One of the girls work in the cafeteria is the aunt of one girl is graduated from the law school now. She graduated aquí. Maybe you know Becky Almeida.
Sure,
she works
sure.
in business office.
Sure.
Okay. Becky, the aunt of her worked in the cafeteria. I came, Father McCarthy baptized her here in Miami. I went to her to bautismo here in Miami. And girls is always call me and tell what happened with them over there. The first day they permit she still there, but after the school closed, they fired them.
And they put some people in jail.
For example, Dr. Suarez Carreño. Well, it was in the day of invasion of Great Peak. This is the time that many people, Father Casado was in the day of the invasion. Suarez Carreño and his daughter. Suarez Carreño is the father of the mayor of Miami, the Javier Suarez. Yes, he was the dean of engineering over there. Many teachers too.
Bradley?
Bradley, I don't remember.
Omelia?
Omelia stayed that day. There was several days, 52 days I think he was in prison. And he doesn't know why, because never called him for hearing or anything. And in one room there are about 60 people in the same room. And another priest from El Cristo, El Padre Blanco, Father Magnif. You know Father Magnif? He came here frequently. He's in Peru now, in the mission. And Father Villacorta. Father Villacorta was my boss. He's the director of the student activity. And has 3 days in prison and don't say anything. The only Father Manis called him outside and said, open that room, that hole, this is where I put you. After 3 days, sent home. I remember Father Villacorta go to bed and is sleeping for 3 days. He doesn't wake up. Well, several teachers was in prison, but really
They kept them in a movie theater, or do you recall where they were kept while they were in prison for the first few days? What about the Rolandos, weren't they?
in prison?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe.
I thought some of them were kept at a movie theater.
Maybe, because really, I don't know. I am not close with the Rolando in that time. You know, they are a teacher in Villanueva, but I was more close to the priest and the people in Villanueva than outside. You know, it's more familiar for me that.
Later,
You know, the girls were over there.
when Mr. O'Malley died, it was revealed that he had worked for the Central Intelligence Agency while he was living in Cuba. Did you know that?
In Cuba, I don't know. I hear here.
Yeah.
But
you
I
never
don't know.
noticed.
I never
He
noticed
never looked
that.
like he was.
No, I never noticed that.
An
that
agent?
no,
Yeah.
this is the first time I hear when he
Yeah.
died. No, I never hear that before.
Did you know Father Bush?
Just too much. Very nice person. It's very nice. He was in Cuba and he was here now he's in Villanova.
Didn't you help some of the priests to get out of Cuba? I mean, how did they get out?
No. The priest, when they stay in prison, some of the priests has a passport and they stolen all the personal things, including the passport. For example, Father McCarthy and another priest. They need to have renew, the passport, and this is the reason they need to wait a few days to leave Cuba. And they stolen the personal things, like pens and shavers, everything. I remember Father Fresno wrote a book against the communists, and he gave me a copy, said, if something happens, you bring to the embassy of Spanish embassy, consulado, and give to somebody he knows over there. But I keep in my home, and the another copy he has with him. And when he left Villanueva, when the soldiers are at the door and he go out from there, he has in the folder. But the man opened his briefcase, he doesn't read, and he doesn't know what the paper said, and he bring with him to United States this paper, and He published the book later, too much later. He published several books. He's in Wisconsin now. For about 1 year, I don't know anything about him, but the papers in my home, we hide it under my mother's dresser. You know, in Cuba, use the big dresser, we call escaparate, to hang the clothes. And my mother furniture, they are very heavy because this is really good, you know. But my father put Insta under this, and when we left the paper there because we left, you know, everybody a little time. The first, my niece and my nephew. My niece first, my nephew second. After I came in December 62. My sister came in January 63. My brother-in-law, my another sister in June. My brother-in-law in July. And my mother and my father in August. And my brother is still there because he has a little baby and wait for the passport for the baby. And after they pass the crisis of October, and he only come in 69. He can come in that time.
What were your feelings the day that you left? You decided to leave. Why? I mean, it just got
because
so bad.
I'm afraid to stay there. Yeah. There are no liberty to do anything. You can do anything. You need to work for the government. My mother was the idea. It's better you come here than stay over there. And after my sister leaves the children, my mother is so worried about the children. I came immediately, and my sister come, the mother of the children, came after me, and everybody.
You remember that day that you came? You flew from the Saint Martin.
I came in December 3rd, 69. It's the Doctor's Day in Cuba. We celebrate the medical doctor day. I remember when Father McCarthy came. It's May 21st of 1960. Because I went to the airport for all the priests come. Most of the day I go to the airport. Because
when the priest would leave Havana, you would go to the airport?
Yes, because Ana Maria Bis is a teacher of engineering over there. She lives in the Rancho Boyero, near the airport. And we go to her home, and she brings us to the airport most of every day. And the day Father McCarthy left, Father Spirale left, Father Sofranco, I think Father Bush too. I never forgot, because this day in the airport they have put vaccination for the people who want to come to the United States. And I went with my niece because I don't work in that time and can go to Ana Maria home every day. We put the vaccination for me and for my niece and give me the certificate for when travel. I never forgot, it's May 21st. And after a few days, another priest come. And when Father Casado came, I was to the airport, but it was a few days after. The priest came in different, not all together, you know.
Yeah. Who was the last priest to leave?
I think it was Father Casado.
Was he a Cuban or a Spaniard?
No, it's a Spanish priest.
Spaniard.
I think it was the last priest left.
Were they Augustinians?
It's Augustinian, yes. But he was in Villanueva for a few days. He lived in New York. I don't know exactly his place now. No, I think no.
So then you followed weeks or months later you left?
Yes.
So what were your emotions?
Well, I didn't come before because I don't have visa.
Yeah.
And Father McCarthy, my cousin here go to see Father McCarthy. And the first Father McCarthy paid the trip for me from Cuba to Jamaica.
Where is that? Oh,
Jamaica, yes. And Father McCarthy paid for that. But I get the visa from Jamaica. But I prefer to come direct to here. But I have a visa from Spain because Father Villacorta told me if you go to Spain, you doesn't have problem because I have family over there and can get you. And another Spanish priest told me the same. I said, well, in any way I can go. But when I have everything ready to come to Jamaica, one teacher called me and said, I received a paper for Father McCarthy, said, you will have a visa, before I received the visa waiver. It's probably he transferred the ticket for me. because she need to come to Jamaica. And after that, I received 3 visa waivers. And I came direct to Cuba to here. I suppose, never he told me, and my cousin never told me, but I suppose he paid my trip from Cuba to here. I'm sure he paid for me. Because Father Macas is a wonderful person. This is one of the persons that I admire him, because he's always the same person. All the priests, they are wonderful. Father Bresnahan is a wonderful person, and he was very nice for me. When I started to work here, Father McCarthy told me, when I said my English is so bad, and Father McCarthy said, don't worry, because your boss is a teach Spanish, and was Father Bresnahan. And he helped me too much, and he was very nice with my family, and really was very good with all the Cubans he knows.
Who so you flew to Miami were you by yourself? Or
By myself.
By yourself?
Yes.
A regular airline flight? I mean.
Yes, it's an American airline. It's the flight came to here in that time.
But you must have been very sad leaving Cuba?
I sad to leave my family more than Cuba, because in that moment the only I want is leave Cuba, because I'm afraid to stay there. Because really is afraid to stay there. We don't know what happened. My Gold Shark father was in prison with the boy for 13 years old, only for 3 months, and nobody know where he is. And we try to, and we are close to them. We try to find where, and we send telegrams to all the prison, and we don't know where, and we may be killed. Yeah. After 3 months, they found where he is. And my friend Daisy, his brother is only 18 and put in prison, and they don't know where he is. She has good luck because he come back, but he's not disappear.
Daisy is the mother of the baseball player?
Yes, Daisy, the mother. The brother was in prison. He went to the bank, he worked in the bank, and entered and take him in prison. His father is almost crazy. I remember we went to them next to the prison near my home to look in the principal, to where is there, and there are some people with the big bocina, or call, I don't know, the big thing to call the people, speaker. Yeah. They said, for door number 1, the people go out. Everybody run. This is in the middle of the night, to that door, and after you are there, said, for door number 3, everybody move to there, and they say, father's almost died. Wait for it. At the end, Kiki come back. But you know, you never know anything. They say no in Cuba in that time. She came to the United States before. When the problems started, she came here. She was in Staten Island with one of the priests. Was in Cuba for the king. And she was with the family.
So who met you at the airport here?
Who?
Did somebody meet you when you flew here to Miami that day? Was there somebody waiting for you?
Well, we call my family. I have my cousin here. My cousin lived here for many years, because she married, and the day she married, she came to the United States because her mother is here. And my uncle came in the last day of the regular visa. He came in the last plane, left Cuba in the regular, when they are relation with the United States, you know, when we have the regular embassy. And he came here because he worked for the Westinghouse in Cuba, and the people, this American man, he's his boss, he fixed everything, and he came here. And he lived here with his wife and the children. And when we came, living with my cousin, in my cousin home, but my uncle is here, my father's brother. And we call them, and they wait for us in the airport. And after it's this routine, every time somebody come, go to the airport. After Father Casado came to my home and bring one night to show the airport at night. And he go to the airport too when my sister come to pick up her.
What did you think of Miami? Was that the first time you saw Miami?
You know, it's something. When I came to Miami, I don't strange too much. I adapted to everything. I in that way, I like my father. Yeah. My father is adapted to all the ways. My father never complained. My mother is a little more difficult, but she adapted here, but she's a little more. And I have my sister, my older sisters. I look like my older sister, not in the physical, but in the way. But my younger sister is different. She's complain more and she's not easy to adapt. She suffered too much here when she came. Really, my brother no, but my younger sister, she has many problems in the beginning because everything, she passed on most of the time, cried, she missed everything over there. Now no, because she has the children and she married and now she stay here. It's Castro Lefa and Cuba, she doesn't come back, but really in the beginning but I adapted immediately. I don't think too much. I said, well, I always said it's God one, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think God wants the better for us.
The language didn't frighten you, the English?
Well, it's difficult in the beginning, so difficult when you doesn't understand or something, but we have to look, Miami is no problem, big problem.
Did you ever have any embarrassing things happen?
No, I never feel...
In the beginning when you couldn't speak English?
No embarrassing. I feel sorry for, I can understand very well, but I don't embarrass for that. I said, what, it's okay.
Yeah.
Father Breton helped me too much.
So so it was not long after you came that what, Father McCarthy suggested you work here?
Well, when I came, I called my friends here, like Father McCarthy's secretary, the first secretary of Father McCarthy in Cuba. No, in Cuba,
yeah.
Gladys. She married with the pilot, national, she's a steward in National Line when she came here, before Castro. She married and the man died in the accident. And when I came here, I called her and she came to see me, but she has connection with Father McCarthy. I went to see Father McCarthy immediately and went to the Centro Hispano Católico. Father McCarthy has office over there. I went to see him and he said he tried to help me. In Biscayne, no, because they will start very short and only there one person. But when Gladys called me, said, I told Father McCarthy I have possibility to work in Biscayne now, but there are only one lady work over there and there are no offices yet, maybe in the future, but not right now. But when they opened the building, Kennedy building, but you know, before Father had the office in home, and Adrian worked with him in home. And when opened in December 62, opened the building in Kennedy building. Before they started in Barry College in September. But the building opened in December, and in January, Father McCarthy called me at home one day. I started to work in the factory. My sister worked in one factory they made beach tower, printing the beach tower. And one day she called me in November in 62 and said, Marta, if you want to work, come right now, because one lady doesn't come and said she doesn't come out and maybe you can work. I went there and you know, when the towers go to the printing, they go to the oven, but this is big like this side, and they came in the racks in that way. And when they came here, you need to take out and fold them very fast, because this is very fast. And when I returned home the first day, I saw red. My mother said, what happened? Really? But I worked for 1 month only because Father McCarthy called me in December and said, you want to work here, come here. And I came to and started in January, 63, January 18th.
You don't drive a car?
In that moment, no.
Do you drive now?
Yes, after many years.
Oh.
You know,
How did you get here then?
By bus.
Was there a bus up here?
Yes, in that time there are a bus. This is the Coach City. It's the white bus with the blue lines. It's the only bus came to that side. We need to go in Bordines, in downtown, behind Bordines, pass every hour.
Yeah.
I left my home at 5:30 in the morning.
Where did you live?
In 12th Avenue and 4th Street. It's southwest section.
Southwest.
It's near where I live now.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I left my home at 5:30. I get the bus to downtown. I'm waiting downtown until get another bus to here and live in 27th Avenue. I walk from 27th Avenue to here. The priest lived in that time in the house over there. I pass for the house most of every day. And in the afternoon, I do the same. I walk to, but after my father buy a car, and he bring me here, and he go to work, and in the afternoon he pick up me and bring here. And after I bring my co-child and his brother, they are in Pace High School, they came without parents, and stay with Monsignor Wolf. And I bring them to the school, and I bring my sister to my father bring my sister to the job, and after come back home. And I start to work in 1966. I start to drive, because a friend of Father Bresnahan taught me.
What did you think of the school the first day you came? It wasn't.
Oh, it was terrible. The building is not finished. The street, the 32nd Avenue is on construction. The bus left off. I take another bus the first time because my father said we need to explore what is the best. He found some place where is the bus came here. The bus lived in 175 or something. We need to walk to here. When I came, my shoes they are dirty. The street they are raining, and the street is in construction. All the thing in front, the building doesn't finish. This is terrible. The first day I need to go and wash all my foot and my shoes because all this dirty. But after I know how to come, and there are no problem. And in '64, my father started to drive. He buy the old car, and he came every day with me.
So on that first day in '61, you were then told you were going to work in the library, or?
I started in the library with Father Bresnahan.
What did you do then?
Mrs. Hancock is the lady working, is the old lady working in the library with Father Bresnahan. She has experience in the public school, not in library. She never worked in the library, but she worked in the public school, and she has good experience. She belongs to the Legion, the American Legion or something. I don't know how Father Bresnahan know her, but she started to work here. And she gave me to 5 cars, boxes and boxes of cars, and almost died. When I never worked in the library. I worked in Cuba in different places except the library. She gave me the boxes, said put in alphabetical order and find the card. She doesn't explain me in what time and how is the Library of Congress card or something. I start to, but after Father Bresnahan came and said, you don't worry. And he showed me something. And Father McCarthy came in the afternoon and said, if you doesn't understand or something, don't worry and call me, and I help you. And if you are sleeping, you walk around, because this is tables full of cards. This was my first job. The catalog never has filed any card. And sometimes have my problem, because sometimes Father told me something and I can understand very well. And I'm embarrassed to ask him again, repeat me. And Adrian always, her husband, he always told me, you don't say yes if you don't know sure what. He teasing me all the time. Yeah. Because we went to his home, Adrian has many parties in home. And always I go there with Marie Hassenher. I don't know,
Sure.
Remember her?
Sure.
And sometimes he asked me, I said yes. And he said, don't say yes if you are not sure, because maybe you get trouble. Yeah. Always he's teasing me. He was a very nice person. Yeah. Everybody here was very nice with me, really.
So those first, then the students came the next year, 60?
Here?
Yeah,
no, when I came, the students are here.
That's right. They had already been going to school.
The students started in September, but in December moved to here.
You had about, what, 35?
23 students.
23.
One of the students is Mrs. Fernandez's son. She's Cuban. She was born in Cuba, but came to the United States when he's 9 years old. And now he's 80, maybe almost 90. And he came, he was one of the first students. And Father Bresnahan, one day he has a book due, and Father Bresnahan called his home. And the mother said, come here to get the books, because he said he going to downtown or something. And he came there and he met his sister, his very nice lady. This is the lady showed me. She doesn't speak Spanish, a little, because the mother came to New York and married with the Spanish man and have the two children, Dolores Fernandez and Joy. Joy is work for the government now. He's working in the Defense Department. When he's here, he worked for the sheriff. And he was one of the person many years ago, in 1965 or something, he get one of the mafia man, and he was in all the newspaper. After that, they changed here to another. They went to Washington, and after that, he was introduced the police in Dominican Republic, in different places. He married with the girl, is the daughter of the ambassador of the United States in some Latin place. Yeah. But this lady, this is very close to Father Bresnahan, and she helped me too much in many ways. She speaks English very well, and she's very nice with me all the time. And the brother was one of the first students we had. He never graduated here.
No, there weren't many Cubans in the beginning, were there?
No. He's American. He's not, but he's Fernandez, his last name. Yeah. No, there are not many. After there are some Cuban came, like Betancourt, Amaury Betancourt. He graduated here, and
I remember one of them was that I remember in the early days was in the '60s was you mentioned El Encanto. I think his father owned El Encanto. His name was Carlos Solis.
Yes, Solis. I remember him. Yes, yeah. He was a very good friend.
He was one of the first
Cubans
I remember.
This is very rich family in Cuba. Yes.
And
he was a nice boy. He was in Spain. I don't know if he's come back here, stay here. Or,
and your husband, you got married about 10, how many years ago was that?
14. I met my husband went in the invasion of Haiti. And when he come back here, when the government paid for the Red Cross to the prisoner in Cuba, he was 22 months in Cuba. When he came here, he visited my home with a friend of ours was in the invasion of Haiti. This is the first time I met him in '62. In December '62, when the invasion people came. After he stayed here, he was here until '64, and after go to California, and passed 9 years in California. But always during vacation, he came to Miami, and he called me in my birthday, in Christmas, and every time. When he came here in 1974, well, he came in '73, but he go back, and he come back in 1974 was when we decided marry. I asked Father Bresnahan and wait for Father Bresnahan's decision first. I told him what he's seeing, and he said, wait, pray and wait until April to decide. I'm happy, like, really. I don't have any problem.
What did your husband say about about the Bay of Pigs?
Well, he said he's a for the United States. Kennedy for.
Yeah.
They tell them something and do different things. We suppose they have help when they get Cuba. He was in the engineering part of the invasion, but they wait for the help and never get it. And this is he was in Nicaragua and Guatemala for the training. Yes. And, but he's so patriotic. He's always thinking in Cuba. He's different like me, completely.
How did they treat him? He was in jail in Cuba? He was arrested?
No, they fight. When the invasion Castro is prepared to wait, and they fight, but after fight, they don't have any help.
Right. So
and another thing, when they win, this is complete jam. There are no mountains and everything is complete. It's so difficult to protect it. And they was in prison, and after they are very bad time.
What was it like? Well, how were they treated as prisoners?
Very bad.
Yeah.
The food is so bad. They put animals in the food, and it's terrible. Like hurt them, many things. My mother-in-law she went to try to see him in different times to the prison. And when they get, they have a very bad trait with the soldiers to the people. She's old lady, and she's sick. She can walk very, very well, and she has many bad memory. One day, her legs too, and really. Oh well.
Do you think that you will ever see Cuba again?
When Castro is not there, yes, but not with Castro. I don't go to Cuba with Castro. I leave Cuba for Castro. Because really I don't have another reason to leave Cuba, because I am not rich, but I have my job, I have my family, and I like to visit the United States. My sister came here several times, and my family, but really I don't plan to live here. My sister planned to send the children here to study for summers or something like that, but not to live. I leave Cuba for Castro is the only reason. And I don't come back with Castro. Really, I hope.
What are your plans for the future? Do you look forward to retiring someday and traveling? Or?
Yes, I plan to retire as soon I can. My husband will retire now with 62. He gets 62 in July 9, but he applied now for retire. He has a daughter in California. She has a very good job over there. She's a broker. Or she get loan, home loan. She worked in the bank for 12 years. In the supervise this department, and she know very well. She married with the Armenian boy, and he's a good salesman. And now he sell house, and they have a good business. They put the proper office. Desi was there for 2 months to help her last February and March. He stayed there, and she wants he go there too. She said if we go there, she get the business for us over there, but I don't like. I have my family here. I don't want to go. Maybe Desi go and come back. And now he help her in the office.
Because you have worked here at Biscayne College, St. Thomas University for 26 years, and then before that at Santo Tomas de Villanueva for 9 years. So you've actually been associated with the university and its predecessor for 35 years.
35 years.
Which makes you the oldest in seniority, I think. You've probably put in more years than anyone else on the faculty or staff.
Yes, Adrian was the only person who was here before me, but she left now. Yeah. Adrian started with Father McCarthy in home, but she wasn't in Cuba, but she was the first person.
You've seen this university change quite a bit.
Yes, changed too much. I remember Mr. Omelia, about 6 months before he died, one day I met him upstairs and he looked outside and I looked outside and said, now really this is the university. Look like the university. And today I look the campus, really this is nice. They grow too much, really. Yeah. Father Pat has some wrong, but he has something right too, because really with Father Pat the university grows too much. And the campus and the buildings, everything really. The school is the teachers and it's the same atmosphere like before, more people. The office is more different. It's more difficult to know everybody because I don't know too much. Well, I never left the library. I came in the library in the morning, I leave, and I don't walk too much around because I don't have time to walk around. But really, it's nice. And I have good luck with only two boys in 26 years. Father President first and Margaret second. And Margaret is a wonderful person. He's a very nice person.
Do you recall the day Father Bresnahan died?
I remember very well. He has appointment at 1:15, and he and I are working only because nobody is there. And he told me, I go to lunch and be back soon. And they told the lady, wait for me. When I saw him through the window, he walked very slow. And when get the monastery, he put the hands in the wall and opened the suit 2 times. I think maybe Father doesn't feel well. After that, he doesn't come back for the appointment because he goes direct to Father Bern's room and said, I have heart attack, bring to the hospital. When he doesn't come back, I worry. I call Father Lafferty. Father Lafferty is not here. I called Margaret. Margaret went to lunch when, in the same time he went. I said, Father may be sick. And after Father, about 4 o'clock, Father Lafferty called Margaret and said, Father has heart attack. And after he died immediately. It's the second time. He has deferred in 71, I think, or 72.
What about Mr. O'Malley? Do you recall hearing about his death where you were?
I remember, but when I came here, I said Mr. O'Malley has heart attack and he's at the hospital. But it's a surprise for me because I know he has high pressure or something, but I don't believe he has the heart attack because he's a person like, you know, he doesn't excite it too much. Yeah. I suppose we always think the people heart attack because he has bad character or something like that. Yeah. It's too bad. He's a very nice person. We have a good memory for him, really. I never had problem with anybody here, really. Everybody was very nice to me.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite period in all your years here? I mean, did you enjoy one period more than another?
Some periods is better in some ways, some in another ways, but really I don't have too much to differ in between the place. With Father Bresahan, is here was a wonderful time. He was very nice with me and my family. I remember the day my family became American citizen. It's my sister, my brother-in-law, my father. My father was American citizen too, and my nephew and my niece. All girls together, and Father Bresahan was witness for them. And Father Bresahan started to talk with one of the examiners. The people take the exam to the people in the hall. Is talking about the family he knows, and it's a very nice, and said it's all the Cuban family became American city, like the family, this country is more big like is now. He very compliment to my family. And after my father entered to the exam, it's the same man. And when my father told the name, said, you are the family, know that. And the man said, my nephew is a young boy in that time, I think he's for 15 years old or something. When my nephew entered, the man said, call your grandson to come. My father studied so hard for the exam and get the record and buy this, I don't know how many things, and he knows all the questions. And the man called my nephew and said, it's difficult for the people sometimes the another language. It's better you answer for your grandfather. My father get mad because he wants to answer the question. Ask several questions only. The only thing is the name and where he was born. And Papi was very upset because he doesn't answer his question because the man asked the boy. And now this is a boy, is an architect now, and he married with the American girl, has 3 children, and has a good business. But he's more American than Cuban.
I know some of us here in the first few years of this new library, we actually thought the library over in Kennedy Hall was more cozy and homey and more intimate.
Well, because they are small and everybody go there, and you know, everybody pass for the library. Yeah. But here was in the beginning, but immediately this is nice place. Really, it's a wonderful place to work. Yeah. We have good look. I remember when Father Bresahan is here, and Margaret is not working here yet. He tried to get Margaret to work here. And one day he come. In that time, Marie Reed is here. I don't know you remember her. Here, and he came and said, if we get Margaret work here, we have the ceiling, the heaven here, in that part of the life of this building. Yeah. And after, Margaret doesn't come in that year, but after 2 years, Margaret come to work with us. Mm-hmm. And he was very happy with get Margaret to work here.
As you say, you've been very lucky having just two bosses all those years.
Yes, because both are very nice and they are kind with me.
Yeah.
Marta is so nice. Marta every day said thank you to us for work for her. Really, she's a very nice person. And father was very nice. Father helped also my family in all the way. He always is nice too. And every time you said somebody sick, somebody has, he immediately go to the hospital to see the people. Father was a very wonderful person.
Marta, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I enjoyed talking to you.
Okay. Now you do the same. You're better things because you know my English is so bad.
I don't know.
I